I did not cry when I saw the message. My phone buzzed while I was in the kitchen, rinsing plates. I wiped my hands and opened it. It was from my wife, Nadia. In the evening, plan changed. You are not coming on the cruise. My daughter want her real dad. That was exactly how she wrote it. No, please. No, sorry. No explanation. Just a sharp sentence that cut me open. For a few seconds, the room felt quiet in a strange way, like the walls were listening. The tap water kept running, but I could not hear it properly anymore. My chest went tight. I read the message again. In the evening, plan changed. Like I was a bag she could drop when she found a better one. My daughter want her real dad. That girl, Amina, had called me dad for 6 years. I paid her school fees. I woke up at night when she had nightmares. I sat in the hospital when she had malaria. I learned her favorite biscuits and the cartoon she liked. I fixed her bicycle. I helped her with spelling. Now I was being pushed away with one text. I looked at the fridge where we had stuck a photo from last year. The three of us smiling. My arm around them, her head on my shoulder. Amina holding a small flag at the beach. My throat burned, but I did not cry. I sat down slowly. Then I stood up. Then I sat again. My mind was moving too fast. I did not call Nadia. I did not argue. I did not beg. I opened the cruise booking on my laptop. The full payment was scheduled for the next morning. All of it was coming from my account. The card on file was mine. The money was mine. I stared at the screen and whispered, "So that is what you planned." Because I understood something in that moment. This was not just a mean message. This was a plan. A plan to use my money, enjoy my work, and then throw me away when it was convenient. I closed the laptop. I walked into our bedroom. I opened the wardrobe and looked at my shirts hanging neatly, like I was still welcome there. I heard Nadia laughing in the living room, talking on the phone. She did not even lower her voice. Like she forgot I was still in the house. "Don't worry," she said, bright and sweet. "Everything is arranged." I stood behind the door and listened. "Yes," she continued. "We'll be on the cruise. He won't be there." A pause. "No, he doesn't know yet." My stomach turned cold. Then her voice dropped, like she was sharing a secret that made her proud. "He is too soft. He won't do anything." I stepped back before the floor could creak. Too soft. That is what she thought of me. In the morning, I woke up before sunrise. I sat on the edge of the bed and looked at the sleeping shape beside me. Nadia breathed calmly, as if she had not crushed me the night before. I went to the bathroom, splashed water on my face, and looked at myself in the mirror. I did not look like a monster. I looked like a tired man with kind eyes. A man who believed love was enough. But love is not enough when someone is using you. At 7 a.m., I opened my laptop and canceled the payment. Then I called my lawyer. At 9:30 a.m., I signed papers. At 11 a.m., I listed the house for a quick sale through someone I trusted. By afternoon, the wheels were already turning. And by night, I had a ticket out of the country. I moved quietly, like a shadow. I said nothing. I smiled when Nadia spoke to me. I answered like everything was normal. She did not notice my calmness was not peace. It was decision. That was the high point. The shock. The moment my whole life split into two. But to understand why I did it, you need to know what happened before that evening. I was not always this quiet. I used to laugh loudly. I used to believe in second chances. I met Nadia at a small office where she worked as a customer service agent. I had gone to solve a problem with my bank account. She handled my issue quickly and spoke to me with respect. That respect felt warm. We talked again the next day when I returned to pick up a form. Then again the next week, by accident, when she was buying snacks outside. She told me she had a daughter, and the father was not involved. She said it softly, like she was ashamed. I told her she did not need to be ashamed. When I finally met Amina, she was 5. She had big eyes and a serious face. She watched me like I was a stranger who might disappear. I brought her a small doll. She did not smile at first. But later, I saw her playing with it when she thought no one was watching. After I married Nadia, I told myself I was not only gaining a wife. I was gaining a child too. And I accepted that with my whole heart. At first, our home was peaceful. Nadia cooked and sang while she worked. Amina ran around the house with her socks sliding on the tiles. In the evening, we ate together and told stories. But little things started to change. Nadia began to talk about money often. Not in a calm way, but in a measuring way. She would say, "A real man does not complain about bills." If I asked where some money went, she would laugh and say, "Do you want to count every coin?" If I said I was tired, she would say, "Other men work harder than you." Sometimes she was sweet again, like nothing happened. She would rub my back and call me, my king. She would post pictures of me online and write, "The best husband." But when we were alone, her words could turn sharp. The worst part was how she used Amina. When Amina misbehaved, Nadia would sigh and say, "See. She is not your blood. That's why she does not listen." When I tried to correct Amina gently, Nadia would jump in and say, "Don't talk to her like that. You're not her real father." Then later, in front of visitors, she would smile and tell them, "He loves my daughter like his own." I kept telling myself, maybe she is stressed. Maybe she is afraid. Maybe she does not mean it. That was my weakness. I kept making excuses. Then the cruise idea came. Nadia showed me glossy photos on her phone. A big ship, bright lights, people smiling. She said, "We deserve this." I said, "We can plan something smaller." She frowned and replied, "You always think small." But she pushed and pushed until I agreed. I paid for it. I paid for her dresses, new shoes, and a suitcase. I told myself, a family needs good memories. 2 days before the cruise, I saw a message pop up on Nadia's phone while she was in the shower. I was not trying to spy. The screen just lit up. A name flashed, Khalid. And the message said, "She is ready. I will meet you before boarding." My heart dropped. I could have confronted her right there. I could have shouted. I could have broken something. But I did not. I waited. I watched. I listened. That evening, she sent the text that ended everything. And now, as I packed my small bag in the quiet hours of the night, I heard Nadia in the next room, speaking in a happy voice to someone. "I told him," she said, laughing. "He won't come." Then she added, almost like a joke, "He'll still pay. He always pays." I stopped packing. My hand froze on the zipper. Because in that moment, I heard a small voice on the call, a man's voice, answering her. And I heard him say Amina's name. Not the way a stranger says it, but the way a father says it. My stomach turned again. Khalid was not just a random man. He was connected to my home. And suddenly I realized something even worse. If Nadia and Khalid were planning this cruise, and if Amina wanted her real dad, then they had been building this moment for a long time. And I was the only one who did not. No. I stepped toward the door. I needed to hear more. I needed the truth. But as I reached for the handle, the hallway floor creaked loudly under my foot. The talking stopped. Silence. Then Nadia's voice came, low and sharp, from inside the room. "Who is there?" she asked. And I stood in the dark, holding my breath, as the door began to open. The door opened slowly. Nadia stood there in her night robe, phone still in her hand. Her eyes were sharp, not sleepy at all. She was alert, like someone who had been hiding something and was afraid it had been seen. "It's me," I said calmly. She stared at my face, searching it, trying to read what I knew. "You scared me," she said, then forced a small laugh. "Why are you standing there like that?" "I came to get water," I replied. She looked at my hands. They were empty. "There's water in the kitchen," she said. "I know," I answered. For a moment, we just stood there. The air felt heavy. Her phone buzzed softly in her hand. She quickly turned the screen down and stepped aside. "I'm tired," she said. "Let's sleep." She closed the door. I did not sleep that night. I lay on my back and stared at the ceiling. My mind played everything again and again. The text, the laughter, the voice on the phone, Amina's name. I remembered the first time Amina asked me a question that stayed in my heart. "Will you leave like my real dad?" She had asked me one night, her voice small. I told her, "No. I'm here." That memory burned now. At dawn, I got up quietly. I showered, dressed, and packed the rest of my things. I moved slowly and carefully, like a guest leaving early so as not to disturb the house. Nadia was still asleep. I stood at the bedroom door for a moment and looked at her. She looked peaceful, comfortable, like someone whose plan was working perfectly. I walked out. The next days moved fast and slow at the same time. The house sale went through quicker than I expected. The buyer paid cash. My lawyer handled the papers. Everything was legal. Everything was clean. I transferred my remaining money into a new account. I booked my flight. I did not leave a note. I did not send a goodbye message. I told myself, they already said goodbye first. When I crossed the border, something inside me finally loosened. I did not feel happy. I did not feel proud. I felt empty. But emptiness can be calm. I settled in a small rented room in another country. It was quiet. No shouting. No insults hidden behind smiles. No walking on eggshells. For the first time in years, I slept without fear. 2 days later, my phone started ringing. I did not answer. Messages followed. Where are you? This is not funny. You canceled the payment. What kind of man does this? I read them without emotion. Then came the message that made my chest tighten. It was from Amina's number. Dad, when are you coming back? I stared at the screen for a long time. I wanted to reply. I wanted to explain. I wanted to tell her I never stopped caring. But I also knew something painful. If I answered, Nadia would use that connection. She would twist it. She would pull me back in. So I stayed silent. That silence was one of the hardest things I have ever done. Days passed. Then weeks. I slowly started to rebuild myself. I found work. I made new routines. I learned the streets around me. I spoke less. I listened more. Sometimes, late at night, I thought about Amina and felt a sharp pain in my chest. But I reminded myself that children learn from actions too. I hoped one day she would understand. One evening, a message came from an unknown number. Please, we need to talk. It was Nadia. I did not reply. The next message came quickly. The house is gone. The cruise is cancelled. Khalid disappeared. Amina is crying every night. I paused. So Khalid ran. The real dad vanished the moment money was gone. I felt no joy hearing that. Only a quiet confirmation of what I already knew. Another message came. You ruined our lives. I almost laughed. But I did not. Instead, I typed one sentence, then erased it. Typed again, erased again. Finally, I put the phone down. I told myself, let consequences speak. A few days later, I got a call from my lawyer. They are trying to challenge the sale, he said. But they have no case. Let them try, I answered. Then something unexpected happened. I received a letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real letter. It was written in shaky handwriting. It was from Amina. She wrote, Dear Dad, Mom says you left us because you were angry. I don't understand everything, but I remember when you helped me learn to ride my bike. You did not let go even when I was scared. I am scared now. If I did something wrong, I am sorry. I miss you. My hands shook. That letter broke something inside me. I walked outside and sat on a bench. The sky was gray. People passed by, living their own lives, unaware that a man was falling apart quietly among them. I knew then that revenge is never sweet when a child is involved. The lesson was not about hurting back. It was about choosing what kind of man I would be. I decided I would help Amina, but not return to the trap. I called my lawyer again and set up a trust fund in her name. School fees only. Medical care only. No access for Nadia. I sent the letter back with a short note. I have not stopped caring. But I cannot live where I am not respected. Be brave. Learn the truth slowly. One day you will understand. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Because a week later, my phone rang late at night. I answered without thinking. A man's voice came through the line. Low, cold, angry. You think you are smart, he said. My heart dropped. Who is this? I asked. There was a short laugh. You took money that was not only yours, the man said. You embarrassed people. Then he said the name that made my blood run cold. Khalid. My hand tightened around the phone. You left us stranded, he continued. And now you will fix it. Before I could answer, he added softly, like a threat wrapped in calm words. Because if you don't, the little girl you care about so much will suffer for your choices. The call ended, and I knew, in that moment, that my silence had not ended the danger. It had only just begun. I did not sleep after that call. Khalid's voice stayed in my head, going around and around like a bad song. He did not shout. He did not insult me. That was what made it worse. He sounded calm, like a man who believed he had power. In the morning, I sat on my bed and told myself one thing again and again. Fear makes people make bad choices. I had already made one good choice by leaving. I was not going to ruin it by panicking now. I called my lawyer first. He threatened a child, I said. There was a long pause on the line. That changes things, my lawyer replied. Do not contact him again. Do not send money. Save every message. Record any calls. What about Amina? I asked. We protect her the right way, he said. Not by running back into fire. After the call, I felt a little stronger. Not brave, but steady. The day passed quietly. I went to work. I answered emails. I spoke to people like nothing was wrong. On the outside, I was normal. On the inside, I was counting every breath. That evening, my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I did not answer. A message followed. You have 48 hours. No name. No explanation. Just those 3 words. I blocked the number. Then another message came from a different number. You think blocking me helps? I turned off my phone. That night, I dreamed of Amina standing at the edge of the sea, calling my name. I ran toward her, but the ground kept pulling me back. I woke up with my heart pounding. The next day, something strange happened. I got an email from Nadia. It was long, longer than any message she had ever sent me. She wrote about love, about mistakes, about how she was confused, about how Khalid had manipulated her, about how she never meant to hurt me. She ended it with, "Please come back. We need you." I read it slowly. It was well written, too well written. It did not sound like panic. It sounded planned. I replied with one sentence. All communication should go through my lawyer. Her response came fast. You really want to destroy a family? I closed the email. The truth is, families are destroyed by lies long before silence arrives. Later that afternoon, I received something that made my hands shake again. A photo. It was sent from another unknown number. It showed Amina sitting in a car, looking out the window. She was not crying. She was not hurt. But she looked confused. The message under the photo said, "She misses you." My chest felt tight. I wanted to scream. But I remembered the lesson again. Fear makes people make bad choices. I sent the photo straight to my lawyer. This is proof, he said. They are trying to scare you. What if they really hurt her? I asked. They won't, he said firmly. People like Khalid threaten because they are losing control. That evening, I made a decision. I would not hide. I would not run. But I would also not go back. I contacted a private investigator recommended by my lawyer. I told him everything. The calls. The messages. The names. He listened carefully. Khalid is not as powerful as he wants you to believe, the investigator said. He is desperate. That word stayed with me. Desperate. It explained the threats, the timing, the sudden anger. 2 days later, I got a call from the investigator. We found something, he said. My heart jumped. Khalid has debts, he continued. Big ones. He was counting on the cruise trip. On the house. On your money. So he used them, I said quietly. Yes, the investigator replied. And now the people he owes are pressuring him. Everything started to make sense. I was not the target. I was the wallet. That night, another call came. I answered. Khalid, I said before he could speak. There was silence on the line. You sound calm, he said. I am, I replied. You think you've won? He asked. I think you chose the wrong person to threaten, I said. He laughed, but it sounded forced. You left them with nothing, he said. I owed respect, I answered. You all chose greed. His voice dropped. You have until tomorrow, he said. Or things get ugly. The call ended. I sat there in the quiet room and made my next move. I sent everything. The threats. The photo. The call recordings. All of it. To my lawyer. To the investigator. And to the authorities. I did not warn Nadia. I did not warn Khalid. I let the truth walk ahead of me. The next morning, I was at work when my phone rang again. This time, it was a different voice. Official. Calm. We need you to come in, the voice said. It concerns your former family. My heart stopped. What happened? I asked. There was a pause. Your wife has been taken in for questioning, the officer said. And Khalid was arrested last night. I sat down slowly. Is the child safe? I asked, my voice barely steady. Yes, the officer replied. She is safe. Relief washed over me so hard I had to close my eyes. But before I could say anything else, the officer added, There is something else you should know. What? I asked. Khalid did not act alone, he said. My stomach dropped. There is another person involved, the officer continued. Someone very close to you. The line went quiet, and I realized the danger was not over. It was closer than I ever imagined. Someone close to you. Those words followed me all the way to the station. I sat in the waiting room with my hands folded, trying to stay calm. My mind went through every face I knew. Friends, family, neighbors, anyone who had been around us. I kept asking myself one question. Who else knew everything? An officer finally called my name and led me into a small room. A woman sat across from me with a file open in front of her. We believe Khalid had help, she said gently. Not in threatening you, but in planning the money side. I swallowed. Who? I asked. She looked at me for a long second before answering. Your cousin, she said. Daniel. My heart dropped. Daniel. The same cousin who helped me buy the house. The same cousin who advised me on investments. The same cousin who told me, many times, your wife is lucky to have you. Some women would drain a man dry. I felt sick. He introduced Khalid to Nadia, the officer continued. They've been communicating for months. I leaned back in the chair. My head felt heavy. Why? I asked. Money, she replied simply. And jealousy. That word hurt more than I expected. Jealousy. Daniel had always smiled at me. Always praised me. Always asked for advice. And all this time, he was watching. Waiting. He helped them plan the cruise, the officer went on. He believed you would not react. That you would stay quiet and pay. Too soft. That phrase came back again. I closed my eyes. So what happens now? I asked. Khalid is in custody, she said. Your wife is cooperating. Your cousin has gone silent. Where is Amina? I asked quickly. She is with social services for now, the officer said. She is safe. That word again. Safe. It felt like air after drowning. I left the station feeling older. Not tired. Just older. That evening, I received a call from Nadia. I almost did not answer. But I did. Her voice was different. Smaller. Broken. They took him, she said. They took Khalid. I know, I replied. There was a pause. And Daniel, she added quietly. I didn't know he was like this. I did not answer. She started crying. I was stupid, she said. I thought Khalid loved us. I thought he would stay. I thought you were weak. That last word landed hard. I thought wrong, she whispered. Yes, I said calmly. You did. She begged me to come back. She said we could start again. She said Amina needed me. She said she needed me. I listened. Then I said something I never thought I would say. I can care without returning, I told her. And love without allowing disrespect. She cried harder. We ended the call. That night, I wrote in a notebook. Not plans. Not anger. Just truth. I wrote. Being kind does not mean being blind. Being patient does not mean accepting abuse. Days passed. Then weeks. The case moved forward. Daniel was finally found. Not hiding well. Just hiding enough. When he was brought in, he asked to see me. I agreed. We sat across from each other in a quiet room. He looked smaller than I remembered. His shoulders were bent. His eyes could not meet mine. I never thought you would leave, he said. That was your mistake, I replied. You always stayed, he said. You always fixed things. I nodded. I learned, I said. He tried to explain. He said he felt left behind. That I had everything. That he deserved something too. I listened. Then I stood up. You didn't want something, I told him. You wanted to take. I walked out. Amina was allowed to see me one afternoon, with supervision. She ran into my arms and cried. I held her tight. Did I do something bad? She asked. No, I said softly. Adults made bad choices. Not you. She nodded like she understood more than she should at her age. I still call you Dad, she said. My heart broke and healed at the same time. I know, I replied. Just when I thought the storm was ending, my lawyer called me late one night. There's a problem, he said. What kind of problem? I asked. Khalid made a statement, he replied. He claims the money you canceled belongs to a larger group. My chest tightened. And they don't care about court, my lawyer added. They care about revenge. I stood up slowly. What does that mean? I asked. My lawyer's voice dropped. It means someone else is coming, he said. And they won't send messages first. The call ended. And for the first time since I left the country, I felt something cold move through me. The past was not done. It was walking back toward me. I did not wait for them to come. That was the biggest change in me. Before, I waited. I waited for apologies. I waited for people to do the right thing. I waited and hoped and stayed. This time, I prepared. I moved to a safer place. I followed every instruction my lawyer gave me. I stayed visible, not hidden. People who want revenge like shadows. They do not like light. A week later, the danger showed its face. Not with violence, with truth. The group Khalid spoke about was real, but smaller than he claimed. They were angry investors, not criminals. Men who had been lied to, just like I was. They were not looking for blood. They were looking for answers. When they learned Khalid had used my money without my knowledge, their anger turned away from me. Khalid talked too much. People like him always do. Everything fell apart quickly after that. Charges grew heavier. Lies could not stand on their own anymore. Daniel confessed. Nadia admitted what she knew. Khalid was left with nothing to trade. The danger passed like a bad storm. Quietly. One afternoon, my lawyer called me with a calm voice. "It's over," he said. I closed my eyes. I did not cheer. I breathed. Amina came to live with her aunt, a woman who treated her gently and spoke kindly. I stayed involved, from a distance, the right way. School calls, medical updates, birthday messages. One day, she asked me a question on the phone. "Dad," she said, "are you happy now?" I thought carefully before answering. "I am peaceful," I replied. "And peace lasts longer than happiness." She was quiet for a moment. "I like that," she said. That made me smile. Nadia tried to reach me again months later. Her messages were softer now. Not demanding, not blaming. I did not respond. Some doors are not meant to be reopened. I built a new life. A simple one. Honest work, honest sleep, honest mirrors. Sometimes, I thought about the man I used to be. The man who believed love meant staying no matter what. I forgave him. He did not know better yet. Here is the lesson I learned, and the one I hope you remember. Kindness without boundaries becomes permission. Love without respect becomes pain. And silence, when chosen with wisdom, can be strength. I did not leave to punish them. I left to save myself. And in doing so, I showed my daughter what self-respect looks like. That was the real revenge. Not anger, not shouting, but walking away and becoming whole.